Good morning. Good morning. It is Saturday morning, and instead of cartoons, we're going to hang out with each other. Welcome to Love Morning, a Love Ambassador meetup, a Hug Nation production. This is a chance to share gratitude and to feel connection. And no matter what time it is in your day, it's 9 a.m. for me, but just taking a chance to assert who we are, remember who we are, remind ourselves to focus on the positive, and to spread gratitude, to be kind, to be patient with ourselves, to be forgiving, to actively choose who we want to be in the world, and to role model openness. So, good morning. It is so good to see you. If you're here, say hello. Good morning, Gerbot. And if you got something you're grateful for, oh, my hair is a little wacky. Kind of like it. Feel free to share whatever you're grateful for. I am grateful that I just jumped in the ocean. This is colder. The air is a little cold and the water's getting colder. But Lisa and I just went for a walk and then jumped in the ocean. She is now in the jacuzzi, heating up. Christopher is grateful to be with you for a second before my race in 30 minutes. Ooh, car race, right? I think I saw some of your pictures. Gerbot is grateful for YouTube and for all the amazing people it connects me with. Connect you too. Just noticing, my glasses cover my eyebrows unless I go, oh, wow. Good morning in Mexico, Juan. Good morning. Buenos dias. So, big news. Well, big potential news. I am grateful for the house that Lisa and I looked at yesterday. We looked at a place that we both were like, oh my God, it's perfect. Like, it's out of our price range, but I'm willing to adjust things and to make it work. But I wrote a letter and I sent it to the owners explaining why we are the perfect tenants and asked them if they could work with us on the rent a little bit. But it's so awesome. It's got everything that we were looking for. It's got a big open view of a canyon. So there's a lot of greens at every window. It's got privacy, secluded. Neighbors are far away. It's got an office underneath it. It's like a house, and underneath it there's this office area so that Lisa can do work down there. It's got a bedroom I could use for a studio. And there's even parking for the Hugmobile. What? So, cross your fingers, visualize me in an awesome place with lots of wood, and then overlooking a canyon, and it's all going to be perfect. Actually, in the letter I sent them, I included a link to my TEDx talk, Gratitude, Grandpa, and Gifting. And because I think it paints me in a good light. And then after I sent it, I was like, oh no, but it does say I go to Burning Man. And what if they have judgment about Burning Man? And then I was like, well, Lisa's like, hey, if they don't want us, then we don't want it. It's like, right. Like, I would, if I had to hide the fact that I was a burner from my landlord, I don't want to do that. Like, I want them to be like stoked that Lisa and I live there. I mean, we are awesome tenants. We are awesome people. If you don't agree with that, then you're probably not somebody that I want to be in a relationship with, even as landlord-tenant. So, yes, perfect. I mean, who knows? But it's really, fingers crossed. It's also got one of the things that Lisa really enjoys taking baths. And as someone who does not enjoy taking baths, I've never even like paid it much attention. But the standard bath sucks. You know, you kind of like you can barely get in it. But people who like baths, there are baths that are so that you can submerge and have like a really nice soak. You know, sometimes for aches and pains and things like that or whatever. Or throw ice into it for an ice bath. You know, you can't really do it in a one, but you can. It's so tough to get your body in. And this one's got a dreamy tub too. So, Gerbot says, "Amen to authenticity." Yeah, exactly. I was totally spinning out like, oh no, what if they find out this? And I was like, if the truth makes it so that it's not going to work, then it's not going to work. I don't want to. This is the whole be present, have integrity, align with love. Like rather than try to manipulate and figure out what to do to get the outcome I want, just trust. I had a cool YouTube comment yesterday from a woman who was just thanking me for mentioning that I had a history in the adult industry and that it soothed some of her anxieties and fears just knowing that. And I was like, wow, I don't even know what I was talking about. But isn't that cool? Just an example of just telling the truth can have these ripple effects of healing. Todd, good morning. Todd says, I'm grateful for friends and people like you that bring so many amazing people together. Sending love and hugs to those with heavy hearts dealing with the loss of such a person yesterday. Thanks for sharing your time with us. Oh, sorry to hear about the loss. And thank you for wrapping your grief in gratitude. You know, I had a moment yesterday when I was so excited about this home and then was like, whoa, my brain whipped into awareness of all the people that I know and don't know that are without homes right now, either homeless by economics or homeless by disaster. And I felt this kind of like, is it okay that I'm so excited about a house? I'm like, of course it is. You can hold both. You can hold grief and sorrow and compassion for struggling and suffering and be excited and celebrate and amplify your joy. That's what a Love Ambassador does. Juan says, I'm grateful for spending a week visiting my 90-year-old mom. Time is what we have and also what we can't hold on to at the same time. Yes. Good morning, Darren. Good morning. Happy Saturday. Saturday morning. I'm also grateful. I'm grateful for Arash, the host of the Burner podcast. He is coming over in a couple hours, and we're going to record our annual post-Burning Man episode. I think I need to spend a little time this morning taking some notes and remembering what happened at Burning Man. I have an interesting perspective this year, you know. I did a lot of my thinking has been around the post-Burning Man stuff, the post-Burning Man negativity and dealing with that and theft and bikes and all that. And I got to make sure I don't get bogged down in those conversations and remember the good conversations. The other thing that's tough is I know Arash will remember the names of all the art pieces and art. That's what I should do. I should look things up in advance. Aha. Thank you. Good reminder. And also it's not so much a annual review of Burning Man, but an annual just our experiences. And it's very personal. And so often we talk about things that we are going through that were helped or amplified by the burn. San Francisco decompression tomorrow. Sweet. Hello, Atomic DMT. Thank you for that reminder and announcement. So if you are near San Francisco, decom. Is it the same place it always is? I've not been for a few years, but I went for a number of years and have had great times there. I just saw some of my Facebook memories. I would show up. I just went for a day and night, and I wore like burner superhero outfit on the plane, on the BART, showed up, as everyday burner superhero. It was awesome. And then had some adventures where like I didn't know where I was going to stay the night. And I was like drunk at a bar and trying to figure out what I was going to do before my flight in the morning. And if I remember correctly, I survived the night. Well, I have proof that I survived the night. I think I know where I stayed. Yeah. Good morning, Razorblade. Razorblade's grateful to have woken up, metaphorically and physically. Good morning, good morning, good morning. I am grateful for my partner, Lisa. I'm grateful for so many moments of connection and partnership and appreciation. Feel very blessed. Grateful for the show This Is Us. Was watching that. We've been watching it. We're in I think near the end now. There was a neat scene last night when one character is having a bachelor party, and there was some frustration. They're talking about certain romantic movies and stuff, and the character says, some love stories are written in the stars. There's like these beautiful destinies. They love at first sight. They're destined to be together. And other love stories, you write them as a couple. You write the story. You put it in the stars. You write it in the stars. And I really like that idea. Like, I feel like the love story that I'm in right now is written in the stars. But up until this, I had stories that I was writing with someone. And I don't think I think that can be every bit as beautiful, is to build a life and grow a loving relationship with someone. Juan is asking if anyone has the address to Decompression for San Francisco. I do not know. Darren says, was able to regroup with some great friends who haven't been together in the same room for 20 years. Very grateful. Oh, that's awesome. I got invited to do an activity with my best friend from high school. We're going to maybe go on a trip in December. So I know the joy of old friends. And having lunch next week with the co-founders of First Saturdays. We're all high school friends, Merrick and Jason. So I can appreciate long-time connection. Anybody else want to share some gratitude? Something that you're feeling appreciative of? I was writing this morning about the importance of gratitude and how our minds have evolved to not be grateful. Our minds have evolved to be problem focused. That from an evolutionary standpoint, no one is protected by being distracted by a blooming orange tree. So we don't even notice it. We walk right by. Meanwhile, there's photosynthesis turning sun energy into energy. There is bees dancing their pollination. There is sun on our face. There's wind on our face. There is vitamin D being created by us. There's, like, trying to list, there's so much, which is why we have a practice like this. The mind will let everything drop below our line of attention. Everything that's working fine, if it's working good, take it for granted. And that's great for staying alive. but it's terrible for enjoying your life because you stop noticing the great things happening all the time. Like this chance to have a moment of connection with fellow human beings with open hearts and creative spirits and adventurous lives. Good morning, Yamil. Good morning. Good to see you. Well, I am so pleased and honored to be able to spend a few minutes with you and think about gratitude and train our brains, build our muscles of focus on good. May that may that lead you. That's the word I meant. There was a part in the show last night where a woman is having dementia and grow, and she couldn't remember a word, and so there's a whole thing of what's going on in her mind, and she's trying to remember the word. And Lisa goes, I can't remember words all the time. I'm like, I know, all the time. As I'm writing them, I'm like, what's the word I mean? It's like right there. Lead. That's the word I meant. Love you too, Yamil. Yamil says, I'm so grateful we did not sustain damage from Hurricane Milton. Me too. Kiri, good morning. Good morning to you. Happy Saturday. Well, I hope your weekend is going great. If you missed my intro thing, Lisa and I found the perfect house. So we applied yesterday, including sending a letter asking the landlords, telling the landlords our love story and why we would be the perfect tenants, and asking if they can work with us on the rent a little bit, because it's amazing house. But grateful for that. Would love your positive thoughts seeing us in our perfect home. And I'm gonna record the Burner podcast with Arash today. Gerbot says, I just watched a great video about our brains and gratitude by Jill Bolt Taylor. Marjorie Taylor? No, Bolt Taylor. Got it. I'll post it to the comments later. Cool. Great. I look forward to seeing that. What did I just watch recently oh, never mind. It's like, oh yeah, that I've been thinking about Alan Watts too much lately. Kiri is grateful for practicing humility and for being called out on a disconnecting language in a mature and loving way. It is such a skill and practice and opportunity to be corrected or given information of how we can do things better. But boy, is it a challenge to not be defensive. It's usually a cycle for me, and I have to. Yeah. Thank you, Kiri. Thank you, Yamil. Yeah, it checks all of our boxes, including a place for the Hugmobile to park. And I think I'm picturing myself in it. And happy Lisa. Well, wherever you are. First, I'm going to read this. Kiri saying, it was hard. Gerbot saying, such a blessing to have people close to us who are willing to give us challenging feedback. I have not been that person, and I don't have that many people in my life that point out things to me. I have a couple people in my life, newer friends, that are really good at it, and it's hard for me, but it's appreciative. And it popped in my mind. I had a moment years ago, and I think I may have I I did a video about how when I was young, I used to be homophobic, and I was so afraid of being called gay. And but we used that word all the time. That's so gay. You're so gay. But if someone called you gay or faggot, like, oh my gosh, that was, I mean, that seriously terror about being called gay. And that we would say, that's so gay, that's so gay. But when we would use it, we didn't mean that is something that is related to homosexuality. What we just meant is, that's lame, that's so lame. So I made that video. And I got a message from someone who said, hey, I'm really active in disability community, and just wanting to make sure that you are aware that the word lame, used in that context, is offensive to people who are living with disabilities. And my first reaction was, you gotta be fucking kidding me. And I'm like, do you have a list of the words that are offensive? And it's things that I use all the time. That's so lame. That's insane. That's crazy. Like all these. What did I just happened recently? There was one of that. This one I'm not even sure about. Like you say, if this. What can I say? Trying to. Trying to do a broadcast while people are talking around me cripples my ability to do it well and be focused. Is that okay to say it cripples my ability? I know it's slang to call a person crippled. That is offensive. But can something not related to people be crippled by another thing? Or is just the word itself can never be used in a non-offensive way? Anyway, my point was that my initial reaction was frustration, anger, like defensiveness. Like I'm doing the best I can, and how come, why are you getting on my case? And they were not on my case. They did not attack me. They could have easily, it would have been a totally different story if they were like, you white, hetero, insensitive man, you throwing around words and without any care of how much you're hurting people. Those of the disability community, are disgusted by your insensitivity. Then I would have been like, what the fuck? But they weren't. They were like, hey person, yeah, fellow human, you're doing a thing that causes some people discomfort. So FYI, if you want to reduce the discomfort you're causing, you could change that. And I was like, even with that really nice way, I was like, argh! Until it went through me, and I was like, oh, yeah, you're right. I don't want to cause discomfort. I don't want to make anyone feel worse. So I do my best not to use lame. I slip up sometimes still. I certainly don't use gay anymore. So I've made up a series of words. They're not less words and more just like random sounds. I hope they catch on. Like, that's so grah. Oh, dude, did you see Billy? He's been Email said, I got a similar lesson yesterday. I was reminded we are called to forgive. Carrie says, but the way he approached it was very healthy and made it a little easier for me not to get defensive. Such a blessing. Yes. I like to remember the, is it Maya Angelou who said this? When you know better, you do better. Toni Morrison? When you know better, you do better. Damn, that is fierce wisdom right there. For self-forgiveness, for understanding other people. Now, if you know better and you don't do better, and you don't make an attempt, then that's a whole different set of choices. Gerbot says, I got a suggestion from my revision control software the other day to change the default name of the primary branch from master to another word like primary or main. Oh, wow. Because of master-slave terminology? I saw an online conversation. They're looking for a missing person, a person who lived out of their van. They called him a gypsy, and everyone got upset. Not everyone, but gypsy is a derogatory term for a population of people. And they said nomad is the better word. And this person was like, he described himself as a gypsy. That's why I'm just trying to find this lost person. I felt bad for the person who was being corrected, who's had big pain in their heart from a missing person. But yeah, it's a path. Master. So is master a derogatory term if used in BDSM situations? Huh. I got to think about master. Oh, wow. Kiri's saying that interior design, a master bedroom is outdated. Whoa. Okay, I'm learning here. Gerbot saying that the blacklists and whitelists are now deny and allow. That's so crazy. So okay, so I'm gonna chew with this, and I'm inviting you into a thought process. So please suspend anger and judgment. I will listen to anything that is said in this response, but I am not rehearsing or thinking through. I'm just thinking. So black and white. It feels like black and white are such core descriptors that to have them infused with something that is offensive. Because black people are not black. Black people are darker shades of brown. White people are not white. They are lighter shades of pink and orange and brown. To say that black and white are no longer like acceptable terms for night, day. I guess that it's that the black is being a negative and white being positive. Like yin yang, black white. There's not a judgment to that. Yin is not better than yang. And oh boy, I'm going to be chewing on that. Emil saying, as a belly dancer, I learned that lesson real quick. So many people don't know that gypsy is a derogatory term. Yes. Kate, good morning. If I'm remembering correctly, Kate, you just left me a couple messages on Instagram that I have not replied to yet. If that's you, good morning. Welcome to Love Morning. We are sharing gratitude. What are you grateful for? And also having a little conversation about language and about how when you know better, you do better. And sometimes we use words that can be heard in ways that have unintended consequences. Someone once told me that like they're being frustrated. Like, oh, we can't use that word anymore. Like, oh no, you can use whatever words you want. You just need to be open to the effect of your words. When you use this word, it has this impact on these people. So you can still use that word knowingly that some people are going to be offended by it. So you just need to choose. Do I care if I offend those people or not? You might not. I'm generally in the boat that if I can use a different word, I would prefer not to offend anybody. But I could see there being situations where someone would make an unreasonable request that I say, you know what, you're gonna have to deal with whatever comes up for you, because this word is important to me, or this word has a meaning to me that that I don't mind its effect on you. Curious saying that in BDSM situations, it is deeply personal to whoever is using it. Yes, but there's also, master and slave are kind of dynamics that, in my understanding, they are free from the context of slavery in the oppressive. Well, I guess master-slave is inherently oppressive. It's a consensual slavery that is the kink. So in that kink, I think it's acceptable. In the same way, like sissy boy, like some people, if you consensually want to be degraded or cuckold, like that can't be offensive, because that's the whole point, is that you are swimming in these places of societal discomfort. Mark saying that in BDSM situations, terms are most likely agreed upon ahead of so in a safe space. Correct. Yeah, so that you wouldn't... yes. So using it within a relationship needs to be discussed within the relationship. Using it in discussion of the genre of activity, I think you can still use it to describe the role in that traditional dynamic within that community. Gearbot says, I feel you, John. I had that same feeling you had when I was first told, but I think about it a bit, and yeah, it's probably better. Yeah, but using black and white to describe contrast makes sense. So I can see trying to avoid the association of black with negative, bad, evil, bad guy. Yeah. Kate says, yes, I did leave you a couple messages. Good morning. I'm grateful for a new friend I'm going to go shoot hoops with this morning. Yay! I love hearing that. I love this practice of sharing gratitude. I love the sympathetic ripple I'm feeling when I hear that someone has got something in their day they're excited about, something that just happened. More gratitude sharing, please. I don't mean I'm asking you. I'm saying in the world, let's increase this practice. Kiri said, I used a phrase last night that I know better than to use in conflict, and I'm grateful for the slip up so I can further my doing better. I think it's also, it's a process, especially when we have old patterns of language. And I'm trying to think when I said something recently, and I was like, oh. And, I think that if you can catch yourself or become aware of it or being reminded of it and be receptive to it, that's all counts as working on it, being on the path. Juan says, words are words. When they are said, it is important to know the person that said them, and that way we know if they're just words to hurt or words that are just put out there with not intent to hurt. Now you bring up a good point. That's one of the arguments, is that what's the intent? And that's where it goes back to, like, well, yes, part of it is the intent, and part of it is being aware of, even if you don't intend it, are you aware of the effect? My intent in saying lame had nothing to do with any disabilities. So that doesn't mean I can continue. Well, I can, but it doesn't mean I will continue to use it because my intent is pure. Now that I know that it has impact in a way that I do not want. So now my intent includes the intention of the word and my intention of being sensitive to people. Kate says, language is tricky, intention matters. Agreed. It matters, but it is not a free pass. Really, I think the most important thing is humility, avoiding defensiveness, and avoiding attack if we can. If we can view our relationships as growth partners, it's so much easier to grow when you feel like someone is helping you rather than attacking you. When that person said, hey, just so you know, the word lame is considered hurtful to people in this community, that's someone who's helping me. I've also gotten messages like saying, you fucking TERF, you're contributing to the deaths of suicidal trans kids by even asking these questions. And I'm like, fuck you. They could have said, no, I don't want to tone police. I don't want to tell people what they can and can't be angry at. But in the pursuit of effectiveness, in the pursuit of growth as a world and community, it is such a better use of energy, I believe, to see ourselves as partners, not enemies. Don't create a wall. Don't force me to be defensive in the way that you communicate. Honestly, I was talking with this just yesterday that, like, I look at some of my old videos. I used to be much more outspoken about political things, about social things, and our social media landscape is so confrontational. We are so, I think it's because of algorithms and because of the nature of amplified outrage and so many examples, and we get trained on how to speak to each other in these angry, reactive ways. That there's tons of topics that I really steer clear of, or I speak to with a real softness, or pack it in language that is non-committal. Like what I say earlier now, I said, hey, I'm gonna just talk now, and I don't mean it, and don't get mad. Because I've had so many times when in the process of exploring ideas, someone hears something, go, no, that's fascist, no, you're supporting genocide, no, it's like, how do I not defend myself when attacked that way? That's hard. But there is a intense and powerful spiritual lesson if we cannot defend ourselves. Course in Miracles says, in our defenselessness, our safety lies, or in my defenselessness, my safety lies, which is the lesson of Aslan in The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. How is he, when he surrenders himself, he allows himself to be shaved and tied to the table. He could have fought back. He's super powerful, but he allowed himself, and through that became even more powerful. That's the resurrection story. Jesus could have, you think Jesus couldn't have stopped that from happening? He surrendered and was resurrected even stronger. And that is the intense spiritual practice of not fighting back from attacks. That doesn't mean a literal physical, although it could in an Aslan way, but it means avoiding defensiveness. Can I be receptive without collapsing? And there's healing in that. That's turn the other cheek. Can I meet violence with love? Damn. That's the deep shit. Kiri says, the phrase I used was, I'm sorry you feel that way. What I know better is to take accountability for how my words affected the person. Oh boy, that is a tough one. That is a tough one. And I admit that is because the truth is, I feel badly that you're feeling badly. But what the crossing the bridge is, I recognize that I made you feel badly, and I'm sorry for that. And it's hard when you don't yet really admit to being wrong. So you don't want to say, I'm sorry I made you feel bad. I'm sorry my words did this. I'm sorry my behavior. So I'm sorry you're feeling that way. It feels like compassion, but it's compassion without any sort of admission of guilt. It's hard. I just was watching This Is Us last night, and there was it's too long a story, but there was an apology in it that I was like, damn, that was so powerful. It's when the adoptive mother apologizes to her adopted son for the impact of the lies that she held on to for years. And I was like, they should show this show in school. This is so good. Right, Gerbot? In our defenselessness, our safety lies. In my defenselessness, my safety lies. There's really, I mean, that is, I should write about that when I get off here, because, like, Byron Katie talks a lot about, the way to deal with attacks is to not defend yourself. Someone says, you're so insensitive, you use these words and you don't think about anybody but yourself. Like, a big part of me goes, what are you talking about? I'm always trying to be, no. In my defenselessness, my safety lies. Or as Byron Katie said, how can I agree with that? Can I find truth in that statement? Say, yes, I can see how sometimes I do only think about myself. Yes, I can see how I can be insensitive at times. Yes. That is how you turn a fight into a possibility for growth. Mark says, Carrie, just because someone is claiming to be offended, could be disingenuous, doesn't mean you must apologize. You can be genuinely sorry they took offense. No harm done. Okay, we're in a tricky place here but that is not the apology. That does not feel like an apology to someone. Yeah. Kate says, intentions can be pure and people can also make mistakes. The growth is in how do they take the feedback about the misstep, with humility and grace or defensiveness. Yeah. Carrie explaining, it's dismissive and not an apology at all. If someone loves you enough to tell you that what you said hurt them, they're trusting you not to make them wrong for it. Ooh, you just hit such a big area of if you are in hard conversations, if you can remind yourself, this person cares about this relationship enough to bring up hard things. This person believes that our connection can be deeper. And so they are telling me the things that are in the way of that depth and that trust and that connection. I had an experience a few months ago when Lisa told me something that I did that she asked me if I could do it in a different way. And in my head, I had made a lot of effort to do it the right way. And I felt like I was being a good guy. And so when she reflected something that was hard for her and asked me to do it differently, I got defensive. Now I knew enough not to argue and not to say anything. So I just was like, okay, yeah, no, yes, no, I hear you. And in my mind, I was thinking, I'm listening. Okay, I'm being a good guy, and I'm letting her get this out, and I'm not going to say that I've been doing so good. I'm not going to get angry and tell her that she didn't notice all the good things I'm doing. I'm just going to listen here. And then I had a wise man help me see that I was wordlessly trying to tell her not to do that. Don't correct me or you will get this version of me that's snooty and okay, fine. I didn't have to say anything. I was not receptive to it. And so she then learns from that. Is it worth it to bring these things up? If I speak my needs, I'm going to have to deal with his little mini tantrums. And so I was subconsciously training her, trying to tell her, don't ever correct me. And so what I did, and I'm trying to do more now, is if I am in that situation, say, thank you for trusting me. Thank you for saying the hard thing. Thank you for believing in us enough to say the thing that's hard to say. Thank you for trusting me. I know that takes courage. I know that takes bravery. And it's in the pursuit of our love and our connection, and I'm so grateful. And that perspective, if you can pull out of the defensive reaction, is the practice. And the more we return to it, the more we build trust with each other. Carrie's saying the more loving language is something like, I'm really sorry that what I said hurt you. It wasn't my intention. And a step further would be to ask for an appropriate way to rephrase it in love. Gearbot says, I love this sermon. Hello, Hope. Gearbot says, you definitely should write this up. Yeah. Bringing it back to gratitude. I'm grateful for this container today to process this work. Exactly. I'm so grateful that we have enough trust and love that we can speak truth to each other, even when it's hard. I'm so grateful that you trust me enough. Well, I am so grateful for this container that we are sharing here that is such a fertile place to explore ideas and thoughts and growth and to be inspired by one another, to share our stories. Thank you, Kiri, for that personal example. I'm sorry if what I said today made you feel bad. I'm also trying not to say I'm sorry as much. I'm trying to say thank you for your patience. Thank you for understanding that it takes me a little longer, etc. Thank you for helping to generate this energy of growth and exploration. I've been writing about, how impactful it is to have a container of support where you can stop being performative and allow. And that, for example, when I said, hey, I'm going to just say stuff, if I was overly concerned about what if I do it wrong, what if I say it wrong, then I'm constricting the very source of my inspiration and thoughts. It's only when you go, okay, if I say the wrong thing, it's still going to be okay. Then you can say, then you can access depth that you never can access if you're trying to keep a reins on what's acceptable. Kiri says, I thanked him last night for his trust and for being open about his feelings. I love it. I don't mean to me, this is what Hug Nation's all about. Helping each other to grow in this way. So thank you guys for being a part. Wherever you are, let's give ourselves a big old squeeze. We hung out for an hour today. Wow, happy Saturday. Wherever you are, give a squeeze. Be grateful for this body, grateful for the growth, grateful for the courage to listen and to trust and to have people in our lives that help us to do that. And let's be that person for others as well. As we take a deep breath in and squeeze. On behalf of Grandpa Caleb and everyone here, thank you for being a part of this gathering, this Love Morning, this Love Ambassador meetup, this Hug Nation event. Oh, well, hello, Diamond and Glacius by Clayto. Diamond says, for the past 15 years, I've been trying to stop saying the word should. Say something more clear. Oh boy, that's a good one. Should is a word that you shouldn't use. See what I did there?